Yeah, so the recording has started. I guess it is past 11 now, so we should start the meeting. So this is everybody welcome to the ECSA working group on air quality meeting. Nuria is normally chairing this meeting, but she cannot make it today. But we will record this meeting, so everybody can watch it also later. I will post it later. We have a speaker today. Abhirami will give us a lecture. The idea is that she can speak freely. We are among friends, and you can give her comments, remarks, questions, and we can have a good discussion. So, Abhirami, if you would, if you are ready, perhaps you
Yes,
can start.
I'll just share my screen.
Or
Um,
perhaps Linda, you can do an introduction of Abhirami while she's trying to share the presentation.
Well, then perhaps very short. Abhirami is a bachelor and master student now finishing with a master thesis project at ECSA Institute in the northern city of India, northwest of Delhi. And she is a guest researcher at Radboud University in the Netherlands in order to learn from how in Europe citizens are creating monitoring networks to monitor the air pollution and to see first to study that as a social phenomenon, citizens and monitoring networks, and also technically to study one of the models or models that use these low-cost sensor data. And when she goes back to India, she will try to think about what India could learn from Europe. So Abhirami, please, the floor is yours.
yes. I hope I can start the presentation now.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. And today, I'm Abhirami, and I'm currently, as Linda had mentioned, I'm currently doing a master thesis under her guidance. So this is basically the title of my project, that is maturing of urban sensing for air quality using the citizen sensor networks with low cost sensors and the innovation and collaborative potential in citizen science for air quality. Now, before starting this, I'll just give you a slight background about where I come from. So I basically come from India. So I'm from the southern part of India, and I've done my schooling there. And currently, I am an integrated bachelor master student at the Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, which is in the northern part of India. And it is closer to New Delhi, at a state called Punjab. And so currently, I'm a biology major student. I'm doing my final year. And in my thesis, I can actually kind of select whatever I want to do it in. So it was usually something geography or human perspectives that I've always been a fan of, and that is how I started reading a lot of papers. So this is basically the place I come from, and this is where I'm studying. And so I started reading a lot of papers, and that is when I came across Linda's paper, which was basically like the citizens confronting the government decisions because of the problems they were facing in the local environment. So I don't think I will have to elaborate on the paper, but yes, this is basically where the citizens have started their own projects and kind of like from their results have started confronting the government. So uh, now citizen science, I don't think I need to give an explanation for that, but still it is defined as a scientific work which is undertaken by the members of the general public, often in collaboration with or under the direction of professional scientists and scientific institutions. And they are commonly known as the amateur or maybe the citizen scientists or the non professional scientists. And these projects can either be like top down or bottom up initiatives, that is depending on where they're actually starting the project from. Sometimes it might be starting from the higher authorities, then approaching the scientists, the citizen scientists, or maybe the other way around. And it is in these kind of projects where the people actually come up with a lot of smart solutions, newer technologies, something that if can be if successful, can be adapted in the later stages by the higher authorities. So here I'm actually talking slightly about the democracy cube, which I've taken from Fung's paper that was published in 2015. And here in this, so this is basically I'll be talking about these the three key variables in my analysis part from whatever I've studied so far. But I'm just giving you a slight introduction about the uh, yeah, about the democracy cube. So it is a three-dimensional cube with authority and power as its one axis, one as the participants and the other as the communication and decision mode. So towards the intersecting point, it's mostly the authority, like the higher authority or maybe the technical expertise. So the administrators, the ones who have actually got knowledge about this the things happening, who are at the center. And as you like move forward or move ahead, it's mostly the citizens who are playing at the farthest end. So this is about the um democracy cube, and here they consider three aspects or three variables as it, that is who participates, how do they communicate and make decisions, and the extent of their influence in social action and public decisions. So about this I will come to the analysis part, as to what I have analyzed from my project so far. And so basically, I am looking at the citizen sensor networks or citizen science projects, which are using the low cost sensors and air quality sensors, because I'm doing something on air pollution, and I'm doing like a number of case studies with some interviews in it. And this is basically to understand how the local communities are kind of getting empowered to issue whatever is happening around them in their local environment regarding the air pollution. And the questions that I have or I want to gain answers from are the level of citizen participation that is there in these projects, and the kind of empowerment that is being achieved from such projects, the citizen empowerment. Now, the my focus of research is on like three levels. One is in the local level, and one is in the regional level, and the other is on the kind of national or something that has internationally been recognized. So, in the local level, I'm starting with the Lenselukten project because it is happening in Nijmegen Lent. And in the regional level, I have taken up the project of Hollandse, which focuses on the province of North Holland. And in the national level, or maybe in a higher level, I'm taking in Curious Newson as the project as my consideration. And it is located in Flanders, Belgium. And so about the Lenselukten, so each of these projects, like in the local level, the number of sensors being used is lesser than what is being used at the regional level and what is being used at the national level. I'm not going to focus more on the Curious Newson one because I'm just doing my document analysis, and there's a lot more to be done, and I'm not even started looking into who to conduct interviews with. So about the Lenselukten, it is basically when the citizens were concerned about the air pollution that was coming from the road traffic, coming from the shipping in the river wall, and industry emissions. And this was actually the data that was taken from the Salmon Matron portal. And here it's kind of like this one was kind of highlighted the most, meaning that the air pollution in that level was high, in that region was high. So the concentration of PM 2.5 and 10 were comparatively higher when looking at all the other places. So this was taken on November 1st. The data was taken at 1 p.m. because I had a presentation on Tuesday as well, November 2nd. So that was when I had added in this image. And so here the main members are in the initial phase. It was Roderick Peters who had started this project, who kind of initiated this. And along the way, Ton Amerlin and Michelle Groth also took part in it. And now they have kind of like expanding their network, and they're wanting to start a foundation by the name of Citizen Science Community Nijmegen, so that they can contribute more to the air quality project, and they can kind of come up with even better solutions to understand how the air pollution is and what can be done to kind of improve the air quality. So the sensor technology is that is being used is SPS 30, that is Sensorion's SPS 30, and also the Onyx sensor. They also have their data available in the Onyx platform. And So yeah, that was mostly about the Lenselukten that I have to say. And even Linda had in a Smart Emission 2 project, um, Lent, Nijmegen Lent as one of the cases. So this was taken during the measurement experiment in Lent. And yeah, so that is about this project. Now coming to the Holland-Lupton, which is in the provincial level that is happening. So this was started off by the province themselves because they wanted to kind of monitor the air quality. So this is happening on behalf of them, and this started off in 2018. And the thing that struck me in this project is they wanted to. The aim of their project was to kind of make a platform for the residents, so that they can also be in dialogue with parties involved, with the partners involved, the experts or the professionals, the institutions, the government organizational units. So in that way, when you enter into dialogue with the people, with the higher authorities, it's kind of like you lower the barrier that is between them. Otherwise citizens consider themselves to be inferior, and they feel like they cannot talk much about scientific things to the scientists. So this is a platform where they can actually kind of lower it, not dissolve it completely, but lower it. And these are the partners. Erivium is also a partner. Vac Society does most of the work. Like they are the ones who are in close collaboration with the citizens, and there are many more partners in it. But they this was also taken from the Holland-Lupton website. And this is the data again from the Salmon Maiden portal for the entire province of North Holland. And here in this region, there is actually a red dot. So this is actually where the Tata Steel is located. So Tata Steel for Indians are kind of like a thing that we are proud of because it's an Indian company. But the industry emissions coming from there is not something that we should be happy about. But here there is a red dot that is blinded by all the other sensors over here. And that red dot is actually giving the value of these that is 696 and 403 for the PM 2.5 and PM 10, which is really high. And this was also taken on November 1st at 2 p.m., which is kind of high when compared to what we had seen at the Nijmegen West sensor data. Now, in the initial phase of Holland-Lupton, they had three regions, which is Eimond, Buchs-Rotterdam, and Zaanstad. So in Eimond, it's mostly the Tata Steel that has got a role to play. Then other factors are like the road traffic, the overflying aircrafts, and the shipping. In Amsterdam, Buchs-Rotterdam, it's basically the heavy industries and the shipbuilding because it is one of the most populated. It was one of the most populated areas of Amsterdam, and yeah, and in the Zaanstad, it is that between A7 and A8 region, people who had concerns about the air quality, about the air pollution that was coming from the road traffic. So these were the major regions that were taken into consideration in their initial phase. But now Holland-Lupton has kind of like expanded. It is going to like it is actually expanding to various other regions as well to understand and to improve the air quality. And the sensor that was being used, the sensor kit that was used was hollow. It basically was in a kind of, it had a modular design so that people can also kind of understand how the things are, how the components of the sensor are placed. So it has got sensors like Nova Fitness SDS 11 for the particulate matter, and some of the extensive sensors also had like NO2 sensors in it, which was alpha sense NO2 B4XF. And the network that was used to transmit the data from the sensor to the server was LoRa. So it kind of like it had its ups and downs, and the positive was that it can transmit the data over long distances with minimal power consumption. But the disadvantage was the network outages that it was facing. That is like the network, the transmission, the data transmission used to get disrupted because I believe in Amsterdam or in these regions, the number of high-rise buildings are actually less. So because of that, they found it difficult to mount these networks at high regions, like the higher places. So in those ways, the network, the data transmission were getting disrupted, and they wouldn't get the data at the right time, or because the data would be stored in the SD thing, but it cannot be transmitted at the right time, because of which the results were kind of delayed. There were a lot of offline sensors. So all of these things were kind of like the challenges that the project had to face, and I believe they are currently working on that to make things better. And the reason why I considered this project is mainly because it is one of like as Hester, because I had an interview with Hester a few days back, and in that interview she had said that even she believed citizen science projects to be in the city level, because that was how things used to work. But happening in a provincial level was something that is huge, and it was first of its kind, and they actually wanted citizens to play a major role in it. So in this project, mainly the citizens were made to assemble the sensor kits, and this was done under the supervision of WAC, because otherwise people can kind of destroy the sensors if not assembled properly, and it wouldn't be of much use. Then so in that way people got to understand the components in the sensor kit, what all did what all functions, and what if something goes wrong, what is to be done. So in that way they were given an educational value about it. Then after collecting the data, they got an insight about the quality of their living environment, like what is contributing to the air pollution, how is the air quality in their region. Sometimes they might not be knowing the source of the air pollution, but they'll understand how the air quality is at their level, at their region. And for most important thing over here is they have adapted the co-creation method where they have the constructive conversations happening. So in this way the citizens become a discussion partner to kind of discuss the things with the higher authorities and to kind of decide on where the sensors are to be placed. Or so it's like the citizens were also given, the kind of freedom to speak out the things they wanted to talk about. And so yeah, this is something I've kind of liked about the project, and these were kind of the pictures that were taken from the websites. And yes, this is Hester Holton herself. And so this was from the meetings, some of the meetings they had, because I think in this project they used to have a lot of meetings with the citizens in it, so that even the citizens can raise their concerns. Then the professionals can tell about the updates and things like that, which is a good thing, which is a really great thing, is what I feel. And I'm not just focusing on the citizen science projects as well, but I'm also looking into the air quality modeling, because I'm from a science institute, so I'll have to do something regarding the science as well. So I'll be looking into the TNO model Topaz. And so in the coming few days I'll have to have a meeting with Marta and Scav. And so in the TNO, the Topaz model, it has got both the country contribution as well as the sector contribution data in it. So this was taken from one of the regions in Amsterdam. And so in this one, it's like if people, it's kind of like in a readable format, because even the people can understand which country is contributing more to the air pollution or to the air quality, whatever it is. And it's usually their own country that contributes, and the neighboring countries, like you can understand the level. And they also have the sector contribution, as that is like which sector is contributing more to the air pollution. Is it like the industries or the road traffic or the residential complexes, or what factor is it the most? So I would like to do a modeling on that. I have not yet decided on what to do, like how to do, but in the future I'll get to know. Now, coming to the analysis part, that is about the three key variables, like who participates. So I am right now looking into the Holland-Leuchten one, because Lenz-Leuchten is kind of like, it's upcoming, it's small, it's new. So in this one, there were a lot of partners involved in it, not just the citizens or not just the province, but IRIVM, the GG Amsterdam, then WAC Society, TNO, all of these people were contributing in their own ways to make things better. And how do they communicate and make decisions? Well, initially, I think Hester had said, like, not the citizens weren't that much kind of made to involve when the decisions on what kind of sensor to be used, how to be used, they weren't kind of involved in it. But now they're also wanting the citizens to be a part of all the meetings that are taking place. So that is how they're communicating, and that is how they are tending to make decisions. Now, the extent of their influence. So in the monitoring aspect, I think the citizens have a greater influence, because they are also deciding on where should the sensors be placed, or what is contributing to it, because they are the ones who are living in the neighborhood, so they can tell you where the road traffic is most at, or where should the sensors be placed. So in that way they have got an influence. But on the policy level, do the citizens have that much of an influence? I wouldn't want to comment on that, but I think they do have an indirect influence on that, but not a direct influence. Now, I'll get to the conclusion, that is regarding the empowerment. That is in the monitoring sensor networking, I think citizens have a greater role to play. They are voicing out their opinions. So they are getting empowered to speak out what do they want to say regarding their pollution. But on the policy measures, they only have an indirect influence, because they just can't speak out, they can't confront, or maybe like be like, you have to shut down the industry because the Tata Steel is causing a lot of trouble to the environment. No, because Tata Steel, in one way, is important for the economic growth. In the other way, it gives people a lot of jobs. So you just cannot like blindly go and tell them like you have to bring it down. No. So they don't have a direct influence on that, but indirectly, even I think the political parties or the government do have it in their minds, in the back of their minds, like the citizens are doing something to measure or monitor the air quality. So let's just not do things that can kind of disappoint them. Now, what did the projects achieve? So the projects were kind of the Holland-Luton or Lense-Luton, since they had wanted in people in that, since they had wanted to provide people a lot of information about air quality, they were kind of transparent, they were open, not just in the talks, but also while providing the results. Now, about the current diagnosis, I think in Nijmegen, Lent, they were like the air pollution or the air quality in that level is really bad and we have to improve it. In the Holland-Luton, I had a meeting with two people, and one of them said that the PM 2.5 level is decreasing, but couldn't comment on the other things because they're not looking more into that, since it involves a lot of other factors. Like for the NO2, you need temperature and humidity and various other measures for calibration. But when asked the other person, she said like it's really hard to kind of comment on the current diagnosis because air pollution is a long term thing. Like you cannot comment on whether the air pollution or the air quality has been bettered post the project. So if you want to know anything about the air pollution, you have to look at a longer time gap and to see maybe in 10 or 20 years you'll understand if the air pollution is good or bad. So that is what one person had to say. And as earlier mentioned, it is only the PM 2.5 or the particulate matters that are measured the most, and not the other air pollution components. Uh, because all the other factors are also to be measured, but right now they're just focusing on that. Even Lense-Luton is doing the same. Now, is air quality improved by the citizen science project? So this is my critical opinion, where I think air pollution is a long-term problem. It needs a long-term, like it has a lot of components in it. So to get a solution, you will have to work a really long time. Only then will you understand things. Then doing citizen science projects on air pollution is kind of challenging because to keep people engaged in it is a hard task. If it is to, if you can get results fast, that is like cleaning up the environment, cleaning up the beaches, or things like that, in those kind of things where the results are like immediate, people are kind of happy to get involved or to be engaged in things. But in air pollution, it's like they're kind of seeing the same data, they're seeing the same kind of graphs going up and down or things like that. People feel monotonous doing the same thing. So to engage them, it is a hard task, it is a challenging one, and I think there is a long way for the citizen science projects uh, to be emphasized on the air pollution factor, is what I think. And yes, that is mostly what I'm doing currently in my project, and I think there's a lot more to be done in it. So yeah, this is all about it, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Abhirami.
Thank you.
That's a
Interesting.
very, very interesting indeed. Are there questions
um,
for Abhirami?
Thank you, Abhirami.
yeah, thank you. And thank you
I have
everyone for
I have
actually
a
giving me this
question.
opportunity. So yeah, if you do have any questions, please
I
I'm
have
Yeah,
just
I
not
one.
being
see.
able to stop. I mean, yeah.
I see Eline and Lama, and maybe, oh yeah, also David. I think Eline was first.
Thank you. And also just to introduce myself, because this is my first time here. I'm a colleague of Hester. My name is Elina, and I also work at RIVM. And I am also part of the Hollandse Luchten project. So I was really excited, Abhirami, that you are actually studying this project. I would be very much interested in the results as well. So yeah, so on the one hand, I have kind of a comment because you showed some of the sensors and the results, and also some were really turning red or orange.
Yeah.
And I think at RVM, what we also work on is communicating that we sometimes should also be critical about the quality of the data. But we can also talk about it later. And I was also wondering, because you were saying that you were doing document analysis. I'm afraid a lot in Dutch, or can you still work with that?
The document. So I'm basically the document analysis was mostly done from the websites, because before conducting the case interviews or anything, I'll have to do a lot of reading, because I just can't, like, I have to do my bit of homework to kind of approach. So mostly the documents, like, I used to translate it, or maybe from the website. It was usually in the website it's I think in Dutch, but then I used to translate everything and kind of get the readings. So that is how I did it. It's kind of like in Netherlands, most of the things are in Dutch, but it's, yeah, it is doable.
Oh,
Yes.
good to hear. And if you're also going to start a Indian Airs project, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, after this, I'm looking into that as well, but it will take, I mean, like, it is kind of time consuming. It'll take a really long time to even start a project there, even after doing a lot of work. So it's kind of challenging, but I just hope I'll be able to do that in future. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lama, you are next.
Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can.
yeah. Hi, I'm Shrizana Lama. I think it's my first time to join this meeting, and I'm working at VU Amsterdam. And going back to the question from Elena, I had a little bit question about the data quality. Like, did you compare your low sensor with other devices to confirm that it's the data, there is a less uncertainty in the data, and to confirm that it's quite robust? Did you do that, or?
So currently I haven't done that, because as I said, I want to do the air quality modeling as well, with the TN or the Topaz model. So only after that will I be able to, like, kind of confirm whether the data that is provided by the websites, maybe the Salmon Maiden portal, or maybe like the Onyx or something, they're reliable. The sensor data are reliable. So right now I'm not looking into that aspect. uh, I'm not looking into the data right away, but I think after the modeling part, maybe I'll be able to comment on that. But yeah, in the interviews, I did ask them, like, how efficient or how effective are their sensors, and in the Lenselukton, they had to say it's kind of effective, because they had their sensors mounted close to the official sensors as well, and they were getting kind of the similar results from that.
Mhm.
And that was the case with the Holland-Silukton as well, because in Holland-Silukton, it's like Erivium, and everybody is taking
Yeah.
taking part in it. So they kind of like compare the results with the official measurements they're getting. So in that way, it's kind of comparable, and it's kind of similar. The results are,
Mhm.
and in my way, I would be doing a bit of modeling to understand if the results are kind of similar. Yes.
Yes,
I think.
Abhirami, can I
Yes.
comment on that? If you have one sensor who is really different from other sensor measurements, then we generally conclude this sensor is not okay. They break down sometimes.
Yes.
So if you have one that says 600 and the rest is 20,
Yeah.
then the 600 is not okay, and we
Yes.
throw it. But we don't take it out of the data portal, because it's still data, it's open data.
Yeah.
But you have to be very careful. Is there one red dot, then, or one very blue dot and the rest is yellow,
Yeah.
then just be very. And we have a plausibility score on the Samenmeta website, so you can do a check.
Yeah.
But that's that was not your main study, but I want to comment on.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I think is like, because in Tata, still close to Rotterdam, they already have a ground-based measurement. So I think it's better to compare your results to the ground-based measurements in Rotterdam. I think that will already give you quite a confirmation that your sensor is doing quite well. And
Yes.
also, it's better to look into the wind direction also when you are doing the measurements, because
Yeah.
it's most important thing, like, to see where the wind is coming. So I
Yes.
would also suggest to put that in your results, so that will give more confirmation that it's from the source or it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this I do. I appreciate your comment on that, because currently I just, like, this was only the case interviews I had done. I didn't gone too much into that to understand the things. It was basically like I'm understanding all of these answers from the people I'm interviewing. But yes, I would definitely would want to look into that, because it's not just one factor that will contribute to the air pollution. Sometimes it's like, as Hester had earlier mentioned, because sometimes when the air pollution is high, people might blindly just kind of point at the Tata Steel, being like they are the ones who are causing the air pollution. But then people might have to tell, no, that isn't the thing, it is actually coming from this direction, so it means some other factor is contributing to the air pollution.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the answer.
thank you for the
Okay.
comment. Thank you.
I guess David, you are now. David.
Yeah, hello. So I will add a comment on your comment. Often we take into account the fact that let's say low cost sensor is not as accurate. So if one provides a value that's off the roof, we usually say that it's not worth it's not a valuable data. Unfortunately, it's not often the case. Reference stations usually integrate data over 15 minutes, and a peak might be because you do an average value, you won't see it, but you may indeed have a very hot high value because something happened.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, often we tend to do this, say, oh, it's a value that's totally incredible, so it's an artifact, and sometimes it is the data, it is the thing we're looking for. So it's always interesting to also have this in mind. I just wanted to share with you, if you wanted some more background for your study, City Measure is creating a tool that's called CityAir.
Yeah.
You might be, yeah. And it's an inventory of citizen science stories on air quality. And here, for I don't know how many projects they have so far, it's listed everything: how much, what type of devices, the accuracy, what were the goals, and so on and so on. And also, if you want to share, and other people here in the group want to share their own stories, I will share the link. There are 18 so far, and it's very interesting to have like some kind of repository where if you tomorrow want to set up your own project, you can find similar projects and get in touch with the people who did them. So I will just share the link in the conversation.
Yeah, sure, that'll be great.
Yeah, thank you. Saverio.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your nice presentation. From people from this group that knows me, they know that I'm always concerned with the data quality. I work in the field and I try to improve that quality. But today I want to ask you, because since you are studying the project from a very broad perspective, if these projects have managed to turn the measurement in actionable data, and if they have done something with this data. I mean, I was a scientific coordinator on one citizen science-based project on air quality, and what actually bothered me is the fact that we managed to involve the citizens. We've had the measurement, we've had the data we needed to improve the data quality, and we actually developed a tool for the city council in order to take benefit of this data and to develop some strategies. But the fact is that the people seems to lose the grip after the project. They are quite okay to exchange their health and the air quality issues with the possibility to use their own car. And the administration seems to like this kind of attitude and basically do very few. I can talk about this because we are in a scientist context and we can share this opinion. We are not in the political arena. Okay, so I want to ask you if you found some project that actually managed to turn this information in actionable data and into action that actually impacted the air quality and reduced the pollution.
So I think in the air quality, that is something even I was talking to Linda about, because in the air quality projects, I think making that into action takes a lot of time, and it's like it takes a lot of components in it, is what I feel. Like you need a lot of things to be considered into, because I think from the citizen science projects, the data you're getting from the citizen science projects cannot be used for anything legal. You can just measure it. So it is like when you have a lot of, like, maybe if you can convince the municipality and people and the higher authorities involved, sometimes something could be done. But I'm afraid if I have seen any air quality project that had actually, I think I'm not so sure of it, but I think Curious Newson had some kind of actionable plans in their project. But I'm still not sure of whether, because I don't think Lindsay Lipton had that kind of an approach, because they are still looking into things. They are new. They are looking into how to make the air quality better, but not to how to approach the government to make things better, is what I feel. And I think even in Holland Lupton, it's like they are kind of measuring things. They are kind of understanding how the air quality is, but are they kind of converting it into something actionable? I don't think that, because the major reason why I wanted to do citizen science, a project on citizen science, is because, as I had earlier mentioned, I had looked into Linda's paper, where the people, it was basically on earthquake and noise pollution. So in those factors, people confronted, and there they got some kind of results. That is like when people said, like, we are facing a lot of earthquakes, our houses are getting damaged, the government did something to make things better. Even in the noise pollution from the Schiphol airport, when people started complaining of the noise, like a lot of flights taking off or landing between 12 o'clock and 6 a.m, the government did something to maybe reduce the air pollution during that, I mean noise pollution during that hours. But in the air pollution, I'm still not able to find out if they are actually, like, making things actionable. I haven't found out anything yet. Even I'm curious to know if people can actually do something, so that the government might, make things to kind of reduce the air pollution. I'm still wondering if that is a possibility.
So
Can I add to
I
this?
also know, yeah, I also know about some results obtained by odor monitoring, but the difference is that actually you can feel the odor, you can feel the noise of the airplane,
Yeah.
you can feel directly the damages to your home, you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the real problem is in the fact that the people are not annoyed by air quality issues. They don't feel it. So sometimes they feel, because sometimes we can feel the pollution in the air when it's rather very, very bad air quality, but
Yeah.
usually we don't.
They're not constantly annoyed by it. They're like, okay, air pollution is
in the
there.
long. So really, I think we should do something in to counter this, and also to devise strategies for post-project actions.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think we do a lot of work, really a lot of work. I know of projects that researchers and have worked a huge amount of hours, and they made a huge effort in terms of science, in terms of action and logistics. There is Costa CS, and he do the same. And then when we see that the people is losing the grip right after the project, and we have also been awarded by EU because of the integrated approach, because of the capability to involve the people, but then the attention goes down right after the project.
True.
And this is really, yeah, really a pity. Because it
What I
sounds to
would
me,
like,
okay, we have progressed in terms of science. We know how to monitor better. We have progressed in terms of technical issues and so on. But then the real objective, I think, that we work for is to have an impact. And this
can I
impact is
briefly add to
still
that?
long to come.
That I see there are two other hands on other topics, but I would really like to add to that the project we have looked to at together with Abhirami Indeed, in the other cases with earthquakes and noise pollution, there were scandals and the discourses were made in local newspapers, and also people from parliament, from the state parliament, were invited. Look at the amount of earthquakes and damage to houses. Look at the amount, and you cannot bagatelize, as a minister, that there is no noise pollution at night because Schiphol is flying all nights, the whole night in July, and we can prove it because we have data that proves it. So there was kind of a scandal made in the news, in the societal discourse. This cannot be happening. So other people were furious or mad about it as well, touched by it. But with air quality, the cases that we look at, for instance, in Nijmegen, it is within the legal norm. And yes, the legal European norm could be very wide, and the World Health Organization is saying we should reduce the norm because any particular matter concentration is bad. It's bad for our health, and we lose like 12 months of life expectancy in the Netherlands because of air pollution. Maybe more in the city of Rotterdam with the harbor, but it's still within the norm. So legally, this is allowed. And a lot of people, we still drive cars and we still produce cars in Europe based on fossil fuels, while we know about climate change for more than 20 years. And now there is maybe future policy in the long term for 2035. So there is kind of no scandal. We know of 2 issues in Nijmegen and at Tata Steel, but the citizens that fight the pollution of an asphalt fabric in Nijmegen fight it via legal ways and not via the air pollution rules, because they say it's within the norms, but we still think we get cancer from it, and we think an asphalt fabric, producing road pavements, should not be placed inside the city, so close to our houses. But they fight it via legally procedures, and at Tata Steel it's the same. They have graphite rains. Literally graphite rains from that factory coming into playgrounds of children, where they say, don't grow any vegetables there because it's really unhealthy. So those are the scandals. And in the asphalt centrale, they even asked the city government, measure the air pollution from the asphalt centrale better, but you need to do it, municipality, and not we as citizens, because then we won't have legal norm and legal data. So buy the expensive equipment, and city government, you do something about it, and not us as citizens monitoring. Exactly as you say, Xaviero, it will not help. And I think there is a gap between a large part of society that accepts a little pollution and that votes also politically another color, let's say economy is more important than a little bit of environmental pollution. And the people that do think environmental pollution should be valued higher, those are the ones joining an air quality monitoring network. But when you vote politically for action, then they are the minority. So they're not coming into power politically. That's, I think, the gap that we see.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's long.
No, it's interesting, but I guess we should give Yencha now the floor. She's been waiting quite long.
Hi, this is Yencha. Nice to meet you,
Abhirami.
Abhirami. I'm a researcher in the University of Amsterdam in in the Informatics Institute. Just want to say I really like how you present it, and because you tell it like a story, and I really like the context that you provide. It's very clear. For my follow-up questions, I just want to ask if you have any information from the community side or any insights from that side. It's just as far as I know, there is a community in Aimang region that has cameras pointing at Tata Steel. I think it's live on the website. And I think they also have some stories online. I just wonder if you happen to have information on that part. It's just I'm curious about what happens in the community area.
Yeah, so currently in the Holland Selecton, I just had interview with one Hester Walton, and the other was from a person from the WAC Society. And in this project, I had mainly wanted to kind of ask the people, like I thought maybe because they have this community, like the Dutch hero community that they have come up with for this, where it's like a few number of people represent the entire community. So I actually wanted to kind of get in touch with those people because they are the ones who are actually a part of it. They are the ones who are in the neighborhood kind of experiencing things. But I want to approach them, but the problem is most of them might be comfortable in Dutch. Like I don't know if they might be, kind of willing to communicate in English. So that is one kind of challenge I'm facing. So I did ask the person from the WAG if she does know anybody from the community who might be able to kind of have an interview with me, just like a casual talk where I can ask them about the how the things are in their surroundings. Is it like are they feeling better about the air quality, or do they have any critical comments on that? But then she said it might be kind of in question whether do they want to communicate with you in English. So that language is a barrier which I'm yet to come across. But right now I'm like looking into the open website and to see if I can get their mail ID so that I can kind of approach them in person and see if I can maybe have a conversation. So I'm yet to know that, but I'm curious to know that because the it's not the actual answers actually come from the community members. Like right now the people from the WAV or the RBM, they kind of look into the uh, from their own perspective, like maybe from the technical perspective or maybe from their communication with the community members. But how do the community members feel from their perspective is something I'm really interested to know about. Yes.
Just wonder if you don't mind, can you keep me in the loop? Because I also want to participate in some degrees in that. It's just my background. Before I did about 7 years of study in Pittsburgh region in the US. So I was studying. I work a lot with local communities in helping them advocate for air pollutions to better improve the air quality in Pittsburgh region. So I'm also really interested in understand the community perspective.
I would love to. I mean, having somebody who's like who's wanting to involve in it is like it kind of helps me as well. It kind of helps me in the process. So I would really love that. Yes.
Thank you. I also have experiences in using data-driven approaches to identify air pollutions in the
Oh.
Pittsburgh region. So just can be some examples that maybe can inspire you to think about how to analyze the data.
I would love to. In fact, that would be of so much help. I would love to. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll email you.
Yes,
I
sure.
think I can find your email.
Yeah. Maybe you can put it in the chat box so that I can kind of, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Also from the chat, there's a question from Colette, whether we could download the slides. Colette, we are doing a recording of this presentation, so is that also an option, or do you really want to have the slides? And I don't know, Abhirami, whether you are all right with that.
I wouldn't, yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. I can kind of provide my presentation. Yes, I can do that.
Okay, we can find a solution for that. Any more questions? There were lots of questions, Abhirami, so I hope this is satisfying.
Oh, I
for
mean,
you.
I'm really happy because I have so far done like 3 presentations. I mean, 3 talks. So one was in the Schemelect, and one was in my university, and one is here. And I think so far, this was kind of really interesting because everyone were kind of sounding out their opinions and their comments and what they are doing in this project. So in that way, I really got a lot of, I enjoyed the session. In
Okay,
total.
okay, and I even see one more question, I think. Is that Kalek or Nevenik?
Hello. Thank you for your presentation. My name is Nevenik Kalek, and I work in France, and I work in a project. It was DIAMS. If you want to see on internet, it's air DIAMS. And I want to say that it's very difficult to represent the air, as you said, but we create an open source application mobile. If you want to see on internet, you can download it. It's AirDiams. And I can show you just at the moment the screen because I am on my cell phone. Partage écran. It's the first time I do it. Do you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes, I can. Yes.
As you see, there is it's as you say, it's very difficult to find the air pollution for people. Like a noise, it's easy, the noise, and if you smell something bad, it's easy to smell something bad. And thanks to the app, so it's in open source, you can see directly the air pollution with you know, PM1, PM2.5, and PM10.
Yeah.
And if you are close to a place where there are many PM10, the indicator will be moved. So it's easy to for people to see something invisible. So I wanted just to show you this app. So it's in open source. So maybe it could help you in your experiments. It was just information.
Yes, that would be great. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think more and more people should be knowing about these apps, just to, you know, like, kind of look into things whenever they feel like, because this is always available and it keeps on, you know, like giving you the real-time data. So I think more and more people should be made aware of it. But thank you for passing on this information.
With pleasure.
And just one quick extra information about this is that the sensor that is being used is a PM1, 2.5, and 10. It's actually, I think, the most accurate one in the world at the moment. It's called NextPM, and especially it takes into account all the humidity problems and so on. And you can check on AccuSpec the results, and even on PM10, which we all know it's all often complicated to have an accurate value. It provides one of the best measurements so far, and it's also available in some open source hardware projects. So we can share that as well if you want to have more detail about that.
So
cool.
I think it's important to say that it's in open source, so you can improve it and write in English or in another language, and you add other type of sensor. So it's important to imagine that. So it's a European project, so you can use it. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we have 5 more minutes, and just there were 2 topics I wanted to talk to you about. One of them is that we have this meeting always the first Friday of the month at 11 Central European Time. But we found that a lot of people are just not able to make it on Fridays. So we are thinking about choosing another day or making switches. So of course, the people that cannot make it today on Friday are not here. So does anybody have a strong idea about this? I was myself thinking about maybe we can switch between Fridays and Wednesdays or different times. Does anybody have an opinion about that? Tell me now, or tell me in an email or in the chat.
It's for me, it's okay. I saw some emails regarding the hour that maybe doing it earlier can be better, but I don't know really. So we are always booked and always full of meetings that I really don't know how to choose an hour that every month we can be sure that everybody can be available. I think we've done already what we have to do, and it's okay for me this to have it at 11. So maybe it's always it's also better for people that live more in the east. And I as a president of an international society, I usually put the meetings in the afternoon. So I get people from the US and people from Australia, for example, and I can have it at the meeting. I don't know, since it's a European, I don't know that we have this problem. But if we want to invite sometimes people coming from other continents, maybe that times we can move the time. But
yeah, that's true. People from South America could join if we would do it a bit later, for example.
But if I can comment on top of what Saverio has already said, I think that we will always have some of us not being available. So it doesn't make sense to move around the meeting because from my point of view, we struggled a lot to find the day that everybody now has in mind that, okay, Friday, every first Friday is this meeting date. So there were some occasions where I couldn't make it, some occasions that I will be able to make it, but it's not a personal issue. I think that it's better to keep it this way unless at some point we realize that the majority cannot make it. But as Saverio said, there are other obligations, and even if not existing now, they will be existing in the future. And new colleagues coming in, some of us moving out, so we really can't say what's happening.
Okay, but I guess this is something I will also discuss with Nuria and see what we can come up with. Another thing is I saw quite a few people here in the meeting with interesting comments that I thought may also want to have a contribution and give a lecture like Abhirami did excellently today. Thank you, Abhirami. I think about Saverio, I think about Yana, perhaps David. Perhaps one of you could, or all of you could do a lecture one of these days. We have only a meeting once a month, so it would be nice to have a couple of volunteers to do presentations. We record the presentation, so in the end we will have a very nice collection. Some of you already did a presentation, but if you feel you have a nice subject to share, the presentation doesn't have to be long. You can share it and everybody will know about your subject. So I would really like to ask all of you here to send me an email and volunteer for one of these next meetings. We can find out which date is the best for you.
And Hester, now that we are about to close, can you spend 1 minute in what happened in Berlin? I mean, anything essential that we should know?
Kostas. We had a beautiful meeting in Berlin. I had a small presentation about it, but we have only 1 minute, so I won't go into that. But we had a very good meeting because we had two points in the ECSA working group meeting. We had an ECSA working group meeting, which actually attracted quite a few new people who saw on the program that there was something about air quality and actually joined us. And we also teamed up with them later. So I think Tom was there, and so we got to know each other a lot better. The people that from air quality that were at the conference. So we had a lot of social interaction. We had a wonderful interaction in the working group meeting, which was quite long, 2.5 hours. So we really had time to exchange information. We had quite a few pitches, and then we had another session in the conference itself, which attracted also quite a few people, but from a wider perspective. So there were also people there that were not really experts on air quality, but were interested. So that was also a very good meeting. And I would like to thank everybody that contributed to this meeting by providing a pitch, which was really nice. So I had a very good feeling about this meeting, and I felt that the need to meet up internationally, like we are doing now, that was really something that I felt that people really are into. So they want to get to know people from other countries, hear what is going on there, and just build a network, get information, ask each other questions. And so that also gives me the idea that this meeting should also be able to provide that. exchange, and so people can just. That's why I ask people here that are here to present their work in a small presentation. Jensha already did that, so that gives us yeah, just a very good place to learn and to network internationally. Anyone who was there who want to add something?
Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I would like to request to Xaviero De Vito to present about the CT Measure project. It sounds very interesting. I would like to see a presentation in the next month or the month after in this working group about it. And from my side, I will try to fill in what you requested. I think you requested to fill in a survey about your local projects. So I can fill in the local initiative in our city of Nijmegen with a project website. I think.
Okay, check with Esther. The one thing that we can do is to file to Esther some proposals, and maybe she can find a way to arrange it in a sort of calendar that we can meet. I think that there are a lot of interesting experience around, and also technical excellence in this group. So I think we can share it, especially to the benefit of the younger researcher or people joining in. So the quality is, I think it's high, and I thank again Abhirami because the presentation was very good today. So I check with Esther. I propose some topic, and let's see.
Okay, that would be great. And also other people who want to contribute, very, very welcome. And with that, since we are over 12 already, I would like to end the meeting, and thank you all very much for being here. And I hope to see you next time.